Oops. Okay, we're 4 minutes past the hour here, so I suppose we can do the official start to this whole thing. Hello, everyone. This is the TAG Contributor Strategy Mentoring Working Group monthly meeting. It is official meeting through the CNCF, so it follows the CNCF Code of Conduct, which I think we like to paraphrase as be excellent to one another. So hello, everyone. I think we're all, I don't think we've got anybody new here, so we all know each other. No sense in going through an introduction round. So let's jump right into it. I've opened up a new PR. I skipped the issue because I'm running a little late on this. Planning the LFX 2024 Term 2. I've based it on essentially trying to start the term on June 1st, but with the same new timings as we set up in Term 1 a month ago or so. So the call for proposals starts quite early in April, but I think that shouldn't be too big of an issue, although I am a little concerned that Term 1, like April 10th is like the midpoint, and it ends May 31st. So I feel like we're starting these two terms right back to back. So that is a concern I've got, but just in that I don't want to overload the mentor crew in that area. The other thing I need to take a look at is I haven't had a chance to go through and make sure that we have same dates in terms of holidays and events. So I need to go through and double check some of those things as well. So because I was so late in putting this on the agenda, I don't expect anybody to have actually seen this BR yet. But if you've got any initial comments, you're welcome to sorry, I just stopped like halfway through my sentence. You're welcome to make comment if you'd like. Okay. Just a travel and talk and summit update. Google Mentor Summit is coming up this weekend. I will be going there, as I mentioned. I will probably have cut this off for the actual YouTube thing, but I was talking to Ali earlier. I'll be at Google Mentor Summit as just an attendee. If there's anything that you'd like me to look out for, I'd be happy to sort of make notes and sort of report back on what I'm hearing while I'm at Mentor Summit. But by and large, this one is we don't have a booth or anything, so we're not. I'm not going to be needing to.
I have a quick question that maybe they do have it and we don't. I just wasn't aware. Like we have for the mentorship site on the Linux Foundation pages, is there a similar one for Google with everybody in it who's a mentee and a mentor? Is there something similar out there?
We have a similar, we do, but it's all just the project proposals. So if you go to Summer of Code 2023 here, I'll grab the I'll actually send it to you. No, I'll put it here. So hold on. Where's my in the notes here?
Yeah.
That's the list of proposals, but that's all of the proposals. The other place that we would find.
something different than that. Like we have the Linux Foundation, that is just a list of them there, but like, where people who have participated in Google Summer of Code,
Yeah,
like we have on the, or is it all conjoined into one big blob? Like,
there's, I'm wondering if you've got access here. Let me grab, so if I go to CNCF org admin, are you able to see,
me see.
copy here? Are you able to see that link?
This here, right here.
What are you what would you
She's
like to see, Diane? Like what kind of data?
Yeah, so what I like about the Linux Foundation site is that it has so if you've been in one of the CNCF projects and you're doing something, you have a maintainer, it is a space. But are the Google Summer of Code folks, this is all under CNCF. Does Google have its own page where they promote their Google Summer of Code stuff is what I'm kind of getting at. Or is
That's
Yeah.
not the same way. Sorry, go on, Ali.
I mean, like if you're a mentor or a mentee, there's like public records, like archives that you can see, that you can actually show off using that public archive.
is there something like that? Because I haven't stumbled on it. I've only seen the Linux Foundation one.
Yeah, I think there is one here. Hold on a second. In terms of the actual like program, I think it's just summerofcode.withgoogle.com. Here, I think that's closer to our LFX thing. And then the second one here, the organization CNCF projects, if you're able to see it, has a listing of all the projects that were accepted, the mentors and the mentees. But I don't know if that one's behind a sign-in. But the first link there now should be the sort of like, here's the project, here's the program overview.
Mm.
I'm not sure if I'm going to be, yeah, I'm not logged in. So the second page, the CNCF projects list, doesn't appear. It looks like you need to be an admin in order to see all of that. So if you're looking for like stuff like how the LFX program has, here's the project, here's the mentor, here's the mentee, with like all the publicly available information from that, I am not sure.
On the
If
the link that Ali gave there, it goes into detail of like I can find the organizations that hosted or participated in these things, but I can't find the mentees. Like who were the mentees on those projects? And and since you're going to Google, this Google Summit, that was the question that you asked, is I'm curious why they don't do something like that to help promote the mentees and their jobs and stuff in a public. That would be my question for you to go and forage around there and see, maybe it's too much effort, it's a lot of effort. I know that on your part to get this stuff up there. But I'm curious, and if they have it somewhere that we're just not finding it, what are they doing to help the mentees, on their LinkedIn references to link back to something that they participated in, is what I'm curious about. Or
In the project list, you can actually see the mentee as like the name contributor.
let me just
Right.
see.
Can you drop that link in the could you drop that link in the notes, Alan?
Oh yeah, sure.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Yeah, so maybe if you have an example of one where you actually see this, because I'm not, maybe I'm drawing, but it's really difficult to find, to say the least. And unlike the Linux Foundation one, which I think is good to, it has its problems, but so if you go there, mentor, those are the mentors. So who are the mentees? The
Right.
contributor is all that's That's
Yeah.
as close.
But there's no link or there's no GitHub profile or something. Yeah, that's just it. And if you go into the project detail, okay, you only have like again.
Oh, here we go.
Contributor.
Here's something. And again, we're looking at 2020. How about something like that? Does that help?
Let's see. I'm not seeing your screen. Maybe I got to go back
Oh,
into
on
chat
the list. On the sorry, on the notes.
in the notes.
Who's
Okay.
sharing the screen right now?
Can I open that public? Is it a public thing?
I think that last one there should be.
Yeah.
So this is, and then if you scroll down, there's some projects, and then you can see the contributors and some of the information there. Is that a little bit more what you're looking for?
So those are just the ones that were done with the CNCF. It just gets, yeah, because I've been diving so deeply into the Linux Foundation stuff. The relationship between the Google Summer of Code projects that are CNCF related and Linux, it gets mashed up a lot.
Yeah.
So I just, how to make it better. Like, let's see if I can find this. I didn't see organization. So these are just the CNCF ones, but I didn't notice the contributor tag there. I was looking for mentee, but we are using slightly different language. Yeah.
And then I think if you look at the project details, probably is where we're going to get a little bit more information about some of the specifics. Although again, we're getting like names, not links. So in terms of like contributors and mentors, we're not getting LinkedIn stuff. We're getting only that so-and-so has participated. Although if we see view code, I'm wondering if GitHub will also. Oh, interesting.
There is some information.
Yeah.
All the way back. And
I don't think we got 2023 data in yet, just because we've still got one project that's actually running still. So
maybe I'll
I was
ask
looking for my own project, but I couldn't find it. Yeah. Okay.
It's tough. I mean, I guess that's the thing that I would go into, because we've been talking offline a little bit about revamping the Linux Foundation site, and obviously their site isn't as navigatable even as the Linux Foundation one is. But like that discussion, I'd be very curious is what they're doing, or if they're even thinking that that's an important task for them. I think mostly from the looks of their site, probably not. But what their plans are and roadmaps are for this site. This Summer of Code with Google programs. And are all of ours run through the Google Summer of Code, or just some of them are CNCF projects that we host and mentor, and then some of them are Google Summer of Codes? How did that come about?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Are all of ours, all the CNCF projects, are they also all Summer of Code projects? Or are some of the ones that are in Linux Foundation just CNCF projects? So I'm like,
so the CNC, so the LFX projects, everything that is in LFX is specific and what would the word be? Exclusive to LFX. And so the Google Summer of Code stuff is separate. It's a separate program. So the CNCF participation in Google Summer of Code and Season of Docs for now is that of an administrator. So we help our projects to do up proposals and get into the GSOC program. And so we're not as, in fact, I don't think I've ever had an interaction with a GSOC mentee. I've only interacted with the mentors. The closest I've come to interacting with a mentee is if something has gone sideways, or like a mentor has gone on vacation or something, and I need to fill in like an evaluation on behalf of a mentor. But generally speaking, Google runs this program itself, and the mentors are expected to do the administration of the actual. So again,
You've answered it. You've answered the
Okay.
question. The ones
Okay.
that are on the LFX site are ones that you're running. And then there's another whole set of cohorts for different
Yeah.
years that the CNCF helped admin over there, which I haven't
Precisely.
pulled into the research stuff that I'm doing yet.
Yeah.
The one
Yeah,
thing
we
that,
do. Go
that
on.
is nice, the one thing that is nice about theirs is it's really easy to tell what time period their mentorship was, which cohort. And on our page, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm just going to pick on a random one here. But if I look
So-
at one of these guys here,
Yeah.
I can't tell what cohort they're
the
from.
LFX program, there is a term that is set. So if you look at one of the ones that is running now, there is a term, but for some reason the term is stripped out later.
Okay.
And I'm not sure why, and I'm not necessarily happy about losing data. But it is something that if you catch it soon enough, you'll have that data, and if you don't, then you get to sort of chat with me or look at the like all of the start dates and whatnot get recorded in our GitHub. So if you cross check against the LFX projects, you can see when the start and end dates were. But I agree. I would very much like that data to stay put. Again, it's a weird
surface.
thing.
Yeah, surface somewhere in the LFX pages. So we opened up this conversation. What do I want to know from your traveling to the Google Summer of Code or the Google Mentees,
Mentor Summit, yeah.
whatever that is? That's what I'd like to know is what are their plans here? Because I think once I get through the first bunch of cohorts for the stuff that's in the LFX and the CNCF, my plan was to go to the Google Summer of Code stuff and pull them out as well and do some analysis on those. So I'm curious, but it's a secondary curiosity. Mostly it's about how can we enhance the Linux Foundation site so that it's easier to navigate.
I appreciate it. Yes. Okay, so what are Google's plans for publishing project/mentee data after a cohort? Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, it's what you just go out there and sniff around and see what they're doing there. I'm curious.
That's going to be the whole, is just talking to as many people about as many different programs as I can muster. I'm also hoping to introduce myself to Stephanie and Perry, the two Google administrators of the program, and just say hello. So, all right.
On the Mentor Summit, firstly, Diana, I think you should have a T-shirt that says "Where's your data?" Because you're always looking for the data. Good.
It's always what's missing. Right?
Yes, where's the data? I love it.
What's missing?
Nate, can you tell us, because I don't know, what is a Google Mentor Summit? Never heard of it. For me and for the recording.
It is Google's. So it's how can I explain it? It's basically a mini conference of the program administrators of Google Summer of Code projects. So like folks who are the administrators. So in this case, Ali could have also been invited. But like, so the CNCF has got a program. There are other programs that they all sort of. I think they said there's going to be like 140 or 150 people. And they also invite, if there are seats, mentors who are like, we were going to have, why can't I remember his name now? Jason, why can't I remember his name?
I also can't
Oh.
remember.
That's Jason Della Luce.
The Tiberius.
Della Luce. And he was actually accepted, but then had to back out at the last sort of moment. So moving into next year, I would like to formalize the process of inviting mentors. Because there was a little bit of interest, but we didn't sort of put out a blast to say, hey, we've got X number of seats potentially for. So essentially, it's interest based, whether or not folks are. But it's just it's a gathering of the administrators to talk about the program, and I hope to talk about mentoring in general.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, and Google pays for it, which is lovely. So thank you, Google, for that. I don't know exactly how I'm going to get reimbursed some of these things, but it is what it is. That's future Nate's problem. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing.
Yep. So moving on, Diane and I are going to be speaking 2 weeks after that at the Linux Foundation Member Summit. And unfortunately, I'm oversubscribed and have not done up the deck yet, so I'm not sure that we want to share that just yet. But are there any updates that you'd like to share on that talk yet, Diane?
Yeah, I'm still wading through data, which is my favorite place to be. And kind of the two case studies we're working on are Layer 5 and Meshery and Lee Calcott and all the cohorts that Lee's participated in, and how Lee's Layer 5, which is a member organization, has leveraged the membership program successfully to grow skilled people around Meshery and Service Mesh and other projects that are related to that. So that's one of them, and the other one is working on a similar case study with Second State and Wasam Edge. So those are the two that I'm working on and kind of looking at some best practices. I'm having an interesting time trying to match up what it says on the Linux Foundation site, which is why I'm asking all these questions, with the number of people that Lee has mentored that have graduated and the current ones that he has on that site, with what I see in Petergia's data set as some of those people who have graduated must not have made any commits or done. So I'm trying to figure out why there's a few people missing from the cohort. So I'm going to use your brain, Nate, to look at some of this with me. So because he has over 35 graduated people, and I'm showing about 20 of them actually contributing to something. So
so like 15 haven't. Interesting.
Yeah,
so
well, I think they may not have been on your original list. So there may be more on the Linux Foundation site than there are on your list. So it's all about that.
And that's part of it as well, is the LFX platform is separate from the CNCF LFX mentorship program. And so so there may well be things that Lee has done, and I'm pretty sure that this is actually the case, that are separate from the CNCF, that he has just run through the LFX because it's a platform that is useful for the types of things that he needs to do. So sometimes I'll actually get pings from LFX folks saying, hey, is this a CNCF thing or is this a separate thing? And so Lee does have some separate things. Now, as to why we don't see commits, could be
I'm not sure. Well, I think that might be, I think the list that you gave me are the CNCF run mentorships. Yeah. And the list that the LFX site is using is everything Lee ever did with the Linux Foundation. So it's a bigger list, which is good because it just blew my little mind when I went back to the Linux Foundation site and saw all these extra people. So I will go in and check that too. But I'm trying to get it clean enough so I feel comfortable showing it to Lee before I show it to the world.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure that Lee has also done non-coding mentoring program as well. So there may be documentation associated. There may be, and again, if it's separate from, yeah. So we'll discuss that offline. But the LFX is a much bigger thing than just the CNCF component of it.
So it works out good. I mean, it's great. He's a great use case. He's done amazing things using every program that's at his disposal. So that's the wonderful thing. Yeah, it wasn't making sense why the LFX site was way off from the numbers in the list that you guys gave me to start with. So I will double check. And Nick, you double check it too in your spare time.
Yes, all of that spare time. Okay. I think this next one. Oh, so before we move on, any other questions about Linux Foundation Member Summit?
Yeah, so I don't know actually about that summit. So again, for the record, what's that like? What does it look like? It's not
so for the most part, it is a gathering of member companies with so the CNCF and the Linux Foundation have member companies that are like a part of the program, which help support each of these foundations. And every year there is a member summit, which is an invitation to folks who are key folks in those organizations to get together and talk about the Linux Foundation generally.
Okay.
And Diane and I are speaking specifically to try to share our mentoring data and our findings on our analysis, but also to try to convince more members to participate in the mentoring program. And here's why. So that's why we're going. That's what we're. This is the same sort of thing with Open Source Summit. We've submitted the same talk to that one as well. We actually, I think we find out about that today. 2 days on the 12th, we find out whether or not we've been accepted to that one. But again, our goal is to provide some more rationalization for folks to become mentors or to donate more of their company time to mentorship.
Yeah, the Linux Foundation Member Summit isn't really a technical event. I've been to it in the past before. It's more of organizational methodologies, things like mentorship. Sometimes it's governance conversations and, structural for the CNCF, like is the TOC working, those kinds of things. So it isn't something as an ex-Red Hatter and you're a current Red Hatter, that is something that we normally go to.
This is actually my first time attending as well.
It tends to be the OSPO crowd from each of the organizations. So not the technical folks by a stretch.
And sounds like it's above my pay grade.
What was
Like
above
I said,
mine?
it's normally above mine too. If we weren't accepted for a talk, I wouldn't be invited to this one. So
It's not a bad conference, but it's just not. You're not gonna learn anything about Wasim Edge or Wasam Edge or however you pronounce it. Maybe I'll learn how to pronounce it.
here we go. Probably. Yeah. So okay. And then I think this last thing on the agenda here is Rion. I think this is your issue.
Is it mine? 1 second.
Or did you
about mentorship
No,
content?
it's Alice.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Yeah, no
That's
problem.
what I get for making assumptions. Ali, take it away.
1 second. Yeah. Just trying to find the ticket. Let me open here. Yeah. So we're gonna switch to this layout in the website, Before we only had to contribute to a project or maintain a project or something along those lines. And now we will have like work on accessibility and participate in mentorship programs. And this is kind of getting important. We need to do this because the HOH group, Deaf and Hard of Hearing group, they're waiting, like kind of, they want to go with this layout, and we need to have something also for mentorship programs. So my thinking is we probably won't have time right now to like prepare enough content, but we can have some content, some links and things like that to the mentoring repository and put it in the website.
I like that idea. I think it's a fairly significant issue. I think it's like we have a lot. Sorry, do you have the link to the 507? Okay. Sorry, I just was reminded of somebody else talking about that site, and I want to share this with them because I didn't know about this yet. So I think that adding mentorship content to the contribute.cncf.io site is a good idea. I'm still not 100% sold on whether or not it should be a part of contribute.cncf.io or if it should be its own mentoring.cncf.io site. And the reason I think that it would be potentially better to go with mentoring.cncf.io is because it's an already published piece of branding. That being said, I can be convinced either way. And regardless of where it lives, I think that a lot of what we're doing in the repo now is website-like. We're doing a lot of things that feel like a website, providing a lot of information that probably ought to be a website. And since the reorganization of the mentoring website, it's even more so. Like before, it was really sort of piecemeal, and Rian can speak to this. He helped reorg it in the first place. So there's a lot there that, like, we reorganized it with the intent of eventually making it a website itself. So I agree, but I do have the quibble about where do we want it to go. You're on mute, Ellie.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We can even remove, that participate in mentorship programs button on the contribute.cncf.io. And we can just have three things. I think I just assumed we would have it there too, in the website.
I have another thought. So yes, you're right. When we rebuilt the repo, that was specifically that our talk was it should look and act like a website because we don't have a website yet and we don't have the bandwidth to make one now. So here's what I would say. We keep the link where it is. Then we can build a little bit of content because we don't have bandwidth to build content. And then the key thing is to take us back to our website lookalike Git repo, which we still have several open issues about. The FAQs, there's actually quite a lot of work we still need to do in that. So before we start building a website, I would say use the handout of having a place where we can be found online, which then leads back to our GitHub repo. And when we are ready to actually move into mentoring slipped my mind what the rest of the URL is, our own repo, our own website with our own URL, we still keep the link where it is, and then become a redirect to where we are then. So so we can be found in two different places. So that's what I think. And bandwidth to build a website, I think we're starved for bandwidth to actually move to the next level and make a website. So this is kind of have this for free until later, and when we do have the website, we still keep the link and just swing back to our better, nicer
If
website.
we, and that's one of the advantages of using contribute.cncf.io is there's no design requirement. We just would dump things into that new repo, right? But then again, if we do that, then we're having things in two spaces where right now, if we keep things in mentoring.cncf, like the mentoring repo, and like add a website layer on top of that, maybe like Hugo or something, most everything can stay the same, but be exposed, right? So we can have a lot of the same processes without having to duplicate content. Or so there's some right, you sort of like because I don't want the mentoring program to be run through the contribute.cncf.io website, but a lot of the information that we are publishing, including like all of these proposals and whatnot, would be good content for the website, right? So it's like in doing proposals and whatnot.
I hear you on having the same thing in two places, and we've been through that. It's hard to
Yes.
maintain even one, never mind two. So maybe then just the only thing that lives behind that is a link to our repo, and in future it will be a link to our website.
Yeah, some very basic information that mentorship, mentoring working group is part of the tag. We do this and that, like generic sentences, and here's the link to our GitHub repo. Then
Yeah.
it should be good enough.
And in future, we just say and our website. And so yeah, so non-maintaining things that will never change. Just I like that, Ali.
Okay.
Right. Did anybody take? I'm sorry, I did not take notes during that discussion. Did anybody catch that? So what I'm hearing though is we don't have a lot of bandwidth right now, so probably table it for now. Although now is a good time to start looking at it because we are already making some changes to contribute. But currently, mentoring.cncf.io points to the repo. Leave that for now. Eventually, mentoring.cncf.io will point at whatever site is the primary site. That whether or not it lives under contribute or is its own website, that can change then. I'm just thinking of the use case. For instance, I was at the Grace Hopper celebration 2 weeks ago now, and if we didn't have that URL, mentoring.cncf.io, I would have been completely lost in trying to tell folks where to find this information, because trying to tell somebody, oh, our next intake is in January, check out the website, github.com/cncf/mentoring is a much bigger mouthful than, hey, mentoring.cncf. Also, separately, I'd have run that, had I realized it was going to be as much of a recruiting fair as it was, I would have had different collateral with me than I had. But yeah, so okay, so anything else that we want to discuss before we call it? Anything we've missed? Anything we want to next? When is our next meeting planned for? I want to make sure that we're not getting clobbered by KubeCon. So I'm just checking the calendar.
This meeting happens once a month, right? So it will be probably on KubeCon.
It probably, sorry?
No, it's on the 15th. So it's the week after.
Week after? Okay, perfect. I'm not planning on taking any time off after KubeCon, so I'll be available for that.
If I attend that meeting, I'll be coming live to you from North Carolina. I'm going to go visit my brother after KubeCon.
Fantastic.
awesome.
You said that'll be on the 15th?
Yes, that's the 15th.
Be fun.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna ask it when I can steal some more of your time this week to work on the
Maybe I could-
presentation.
Yes, I saw that you've got, I thought I saw some time on my calendar. I think I can meet you on Friday. I may be able to meet you Thursday afternoon or evening. Thursday is a travel day for me, but it's only a flight between here and San Francisco. But there's also a bus down to.
Do your Thursday travel. Do your Thursday travel day. Let's meet Friday in the morning, maybe 9:30.
Yeah, I think that
settled
would
in
work
and
for me.
everything.
Yeah.
Really, all I need from you to start with is the template
That-
for whatever you want for the presentation, so I can start shoveling in data. And
Yeah, I can get. I'm hoping to get that to you this afternoon. I've been thinking about that. I'll try. I'll try my best. I'm so sorry. I try to under promise and over deliver, and for some reason, this particular talk has gotten ahead of me. So I will try my best to get that to you. And I think that the talking on Friday would be probably the better option, just because again, this is going to be like I'm not traveling. Like I'm not going to California for vacation. Like I'm going to be working all week next week. And once I'm settled on Friday, I think that should be fine. And I'm pretty sure that the actual conference starts on Saturday, so I need to double check that. But
I'm not trying to guilt you. I'm just trying to not
No.
put it into that other format, which is the
Well, it's also-
Bitergia
it's
one,
also-
and which is
well, and it's also coming up. Like I need to put some time into this thing. So yeah. So let's pencil in Friday morning around 9:30. That sounds good. That'll have given me time to find coffee in the new place.
and we're still recording, so I'm not trying to guilt trip you. I'm just trying to pin you down for something.
Appreciate that.
All
Okay.
good. All right,
All
take
right.
care.
All
Thanks,
right.
guys.
Take care, everyone. We're gonna give ourselves back 15 minutes, and we will see you next month, unless I see you sooner.
Take
Thanks,
care.
everybody.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.
Right.